the shinola on that one. All right. Now, I would like to address this arts funding issue. Now, this all reminds me of a humorous story of the traveling salesman. Let's say that the taxpayer is a farmer and the government is a salesman. Well, the farmer says you can spend the night in my barn, but do me a favor, don't stick your willy into any of the 3 holes in the wall. Well, in this case, the salesman's willy represents the taxpayer's money, you understand. Well, the government, like the salesman, can't help himself. Sticks his willy in the first hole, it feels good. Sticks his willy in the second hole, it feels even better. Sticks his willy in the third hole, and it hurts like hell, and it won't let go. Well, in the morning, the farmer comes out, and he explains. Behind the first hole was my wife. Behind the second hole was my daughter. And behind the third hole was a milking machine that don't let go till it gets 50 gallons. Gentlemen, I propose that this arts funding is like a milking machine, and unless we shut it down, it's going to rip our dicks right off.
Tonight's show is brought to you by the new U.S. government, improving the arts by severely limiting them.
Hey, Mask!
Andy Warhol and John Waters, in conjunction with Saliva Productions, present Jim Barrie's beloved children's classic, Peter Pan.
I think I see him.
No, that's just a cloud.
No, it's not. It's Peter.
I'm flying. Look at me way up high, suddenly here am I, I'm flying.
Yes, it's Divine, starring as the boy who wouldn't grow up.
I won't grow up.
I won't grow up.
I don't want to go to school.
I don't want to go to school.
Just to learn to be a parrot.
Just to learn to be a parrot.
And recite a silly rule.
And recite a silly rule.
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. Now everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and it's full of them. We're gonna start with high chops. Just watch this chorus steps.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight, as you do every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on the West Coast, to Fantastic Comics Presents. This is our 78th consecutive episode. Kaare Andrews is going to be on the show in just a few moments. For those of you that are new here, or for some reason are on my Yule Carter channel, go on over to the Fantastic Comics one, because you can't rely on the fact that I'm going to actually broadcast over there. And this is really for the store. This is a store account. This is a store show. And it's all about a dude who owns a comic store, likes comics, and wants to talk comics, and has guests from time to time. And today we're going to have Kaare Andrews. Okay, for those of you that are interested, this is where our store is. We're over in Berkeley, California, MLK Junior Way. You can follow us on Fantastic Comics, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We also have a Patreon. And yeah, there you go. There's not much more to it than that. I'm going to get right to it. So let me take this camera off or start this camera. Oh my goodness. Look at that. This cat, Kaare, sorry, saying it wrong. Kaare, stupid you all. Has done a lot of comics and a lot of covers and a lot of Marvel stuff. Most recently, though, he has worked on his own creator-owned book for AWA, and I've talked about it a lot. I'm sure if you've seen any of the past episodes, you know that. I'm a big fan of E-Ratic, and tomorrow there's going to be a new series, a mini series that Marvel's putting out that he's working on called Amazing Fantasy. And this is like the last second shill for my store for y'all to pick it up. I am really looking forward to it, not unlike I was looking forward to the Beta Ray Bill miniseries, which has not disappointed. Oh, and as that last issue is coming out, this first issue is coming out. Pretty interesting. Almost like they timed it perfectly for me. Just as one's leaving, one's coming in. All right. So everybody, welcome Kaare Andrews. Kaare, how's it going?
Hey, Yul, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, yeah, no, thanks for coming on. I mean, why would you?
We're spreading the word. We're spreading the gospel. We're spreading the word.
That's right. We actually have a lot of people that watch after the fact sometimes. And I think, doing little clips of you being on the show will help that. And people will see it anyway. And I know that it's not all live, but
yeah, that sounds great. Listen, I watch tons of YouTube. I watch tons of live streams after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing all day, so it's fun to have something to listen to. I used to be DVD commentaries back in the day when they made those, but now it's tons of YouTube stuff. Just whether it's news or commentary or hot takes or whatever.
Yeah. What's your favorite hot take that's going on right now? Are you on the Kevin Smith thing?
I will not participate in any public hot takes. So it's part of my job is to try to stay away from the hot takes.
But have you been listening to any of them? I mean, you can't escape
probably,
it, right?
Probably have listened to tons of hot takes.
I have so I have my personal Twitter account and then the store's Twitter account. And the conversation sometimes overlaps, or it's just the same conversation, just with different angles.
I'm in regards to the Kevin Smith stuff. I think Kevin Smith is a cool filmmaker. I'm also a huge He-Man fan, but I probably won't watch the show. No real reason. I think oftentimes these remakes, whether it's the Snake Eyes movie or the He-Man cartoon, it's like I just like that original stuff so much. I think whatever the result is, I probably won't enjoy it. So I just kind of leave it alone. And maybe at some point I'll check it out. But I have no real urgency to pick at those things I used to love or still love, seen through new creators. I just don't feel a need, I just don't feel the urgency to check out someone else's new version of the thing I already love, So I'll leave it for now. And maybe at some point, maybe I'll check it out.
How does that so you've been a comic fan before you were a comic creator, correct?
Oh yeah, there isn't a minute in my life that didn't involve comic books. I was reading comic books before I could read words, so I was I would read the panels and just be amazed at the stories and the characters without even understanding what they were saying. And that probably helped me as a visual storyteller because you can tell so much story without any words.
Right. Well, what do you feel like when they make a movie on the character, or whether you like the character or not? Something that I mean, if they did a Land of the Lost now, would you be like? I mean, I know they've done one, but if they did a new one,
well, I'm
really into the old one.
Personally, I find it it's in direct opposition to how much love I have for that thing that used to exist. So I loved G.I. Joe and I loved He-Man and I loved certain things. And so I probably feel less inclined to watch them now because I just already have that love. But if it's something I wasn't really aware of, like Gotcha Man or whatever, I'd probably feel more inclined to check it out because I don't have that attachment. There's no risk of hurting my feelings if you screw up strawberry shortcake. I'm not gonna
Right.
I'm not gonna get mad.
This is such an inventive take on strawberry shortcake. It's in black and white and everything. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that might just be fun, like, because I don't have that emotion. But anything I feel, the tingles about, I'll probably just leave alone for a while.
There's always going to be something eventually it's going to catch up with you that something you really loved is going to be like tangled with now. They're just going to
Yeah. Well, if you see in my wall behind me, I have a He-Man pan animation cell.
Nice.
And there's a G.I. Joe splash page from G.I. Joe number 28.
Which one's that, if you know?
I don't remember that. There's like I have them all, but I don't remember the story. But it's like on a dinghy. There's I don't know, just a bunch of Joes approaching a ship to do some operation. I don't know.
As I've gotten older, I forgot all the numbers basically. I was like, I'm sure that the Tangled Webs Spider-Man that you did was in the teens, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not good. I'm not good with that stuff, numbers or I'm a visual. I think visually, so I remember images and people. I forget people's faces all the time and people's names. But if I draw them a sketch at a convention, I'll remember the sketch for sure.
Right.
It's just the way I ingest the world.
Nice. I like that. So I'm gonna put some pictures up that I downloaded while we talk, maybe a little bit about. So those of you at home that don't know Kaare's work, I'm gonna show you some stuff that I dig. And the first things that when I really started paying attention, you were doing Spider-Man covers and Hulk covers. And so the Hulk cover that was a big deal was this one, initially because it's a Steranko. What do you call that? An homage?
An homage, a ripoff, a theft, outright theft. But Steranko's always been a favorite, But what's funny is that was suggested to me by the editor, and I was a bit hesitant because, again, I like Steranko so much. I was like, oh, do I really want to? But then you get over it. And you're like, okay, I'll do my thing. I'll do my thing. I'll do my version of that thing. Right. And Steranko he took that from the Atlas sculpture too. So it's like, there's a lineage in imagery.
Sure.
There's that quote, I live by it, where bad artists trace, good artists borrow, and great artists steal. So the thing is, if you're tracing something, you're just going over the lines someone else drew, and you'll forget some lines, and you'll take off the paper, won't make sense. You won't have drawn half the face. And if you borrow, you're never going to, if I borrow your car, I'm just going to drive it gently. I'm not going to try to go too fast or too slow. But if I steal your Ferrari that I love, maybe I'll repaint it. Maybe I'll rebuild the engine. Maybe I'll trash it. Maybe I'll drag race with it. Then the lanes are open. So I always think creative theft is the way to go, but you need to really steal it. If you stop yourself, that's when you get in trouble. If you just don't go all the way, because you need to own it. Once you own it, then it's yours, and then you can change it. But if you don't own it, you'll never change it.
So would that be like when Sienkiewicz was doing Moon Knight initially, and it was very much like Neil Adams? I mean,
yeah, he was at first he was mimicking Neil Adams, right? And then he just stopped caring, and then the realist Sienkiewicz just exploded.
He leaned into it. I mean, it's still Neil Adams, sort of. I mean, I'm sure Neil Adams is somebody else that he, on whatever strip he was working on, his little Abner strip or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we all come from somewhere, and it's still a classic painting school to go replicate the masters. You actually try to replicate the brushstrokes of masters. Go to Florence or whatever and study painting, oil painting. There's a school of thought that is you learn to paint by replicating masters. And then that's how you learn technique. And I still, to this day, I'm a process junkie in the art world. I love to deconstruct how things are made, take those techniques, do them on my own, or subvert them, or change them, or just steal them, and then they're mine, and then I can do what I want with them. That's the deal.
Okay, so you were working on Hulk, and Bruce Jones was the writer, and I find it funny that everybody's looking at the Immortal Hulk now, and it's so dark and everything, and I'm thinking that Bruce Jones stuff was pretty introspective, and the monster never came out, and when it did, you were like, oh my god. And so did you have any communication with him when you were doing that? Because stuff like this really comes across. I mean, or are you just no, zero, I'm just going to draw a mean Hulk?
Yeah, zero communication. It was through Axel. So Axel was my editor during those covers, and he really empowered me to just create. And he liked what I was doing and encouraged me to do more. And I met Bruce later, but I always felt like my role as a cover artist, if I'm doing covers, is not necessarily to represent the story inside the pages. The real, if you break it down to like what's the fundamental task of a cover artist, it's just to get a reader to pick up the book and open it up, and then my job is done. Like that's the entire job of a cover artist. Pick up the book, open it up. And to this day, one of my good friends, Josh Middleton, he feels the same way. He's doing Wonder Woman covers. He won't be trying to draw the story inside. He'll be trying to draw that unique, interesting, intriguing take of Wonder Woman. Maybe there's some story elements in there, but maybe not. As long as if the art is strong enough, someone will pick it up and open it, and the story inside, then that's the win. Once you're holding your hands, you're halfway to buying it. That's the trick.
I was talking to a customer today about his covers of Wonder Woman, and now it's he's on Black and Gold. He has a cover, and his stuff reminds me, I don't know, and maybe not reminds me, it almost looks like it's sculpted and then like drawn on the page, somehow.
He's got some, you should talk to him someday. He's one of my good friends. He's him and I talk process all day. He lives in Japan, and we just get on the phone for hours just talking over, like, there's very few artists who have the technical process ability to just talk shop, like talk like this to both real media and digital media, because both Josh and I love to experiment in whatever, whether it's pastels or watercolor or acrylic, but then also digital media. And we're very different, and he's very meticulous and very just focuses on an image and just kind of like builds it out. And he's got some interesting ideas that I don't know if I am allowed to talk about his secret sauce right now, but it's I think at least he inspires me, and I hopefully I inspire him too a little bit. And the way we just kind of like do our thing,
Right. Well, I mean, as far as like the whole, you did your job. I mean, you want to pick up that book for sure. And thankfully, like on the inside, it was equally as good.
Yeah,
Most of the time,
it was different. Like back then, when I really started playing with those whole covers, I started to homage like Norman Rockwell or a Corn Pops box, or like just strange stuff. And this one you're showing me now, in particular, that was one. Yeah. When I do a cover, I give 3 layouts. Still to this day, even though a lot of artists, you can only give one and be like, "Can I do this?" And generally they'll say yes. But I like to do 3 because the first image is always the image either they ask for or you think they want. The second image is always an iteration of that same thing. And the third image is usually a wild card, because at that point you have 2 strong images. And if you do work in 3s, like I do 3 layouts, it's like, okay, that's where I'll throw in the curveball. And this was the curveball. And I remember talking to Axel, and I was like, wouldn't this be fun? Almost as not a joke, like haha, we'd never do it, but like it was a fun third option that I didn't actually think he would say yes to. And I love Norman Rockwell, and he was like, I love it. And I remember the feeling to this day of like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's go for it. And it was so empowering. And once we did this cover and we got a good response from it, then I could do anything. Then
that's
I could
when you do like the Corn Pops.
Right. And now in today's world, it wouldn't stand out so much. You're like, oh, okay, that's a fun cover, fun homage cover. But back then, no one was doing them. Like it was a new idea to just homage pop culture on a big superhero cover. And this was like a bit of a horror thing. Like, it was really fun just to like own those covers and just try new things.
Now, were you allowed? I mean, obviously you were allowed to do it, but did they give you any guff about this one? Because, that was the thing about like EC Comics. One of the things, they couldn't do any eye damage or even threatening the eyeball in any way on the covers.
Yeah, no, they loved it. They loved it. The only thing I couldn't do is Marvel was very nervous about guns on the covers. And to this day, sometimes you will get pushback if there's a lot of guns on the cover or blood. Guns and blood is basically the line that's always kind of been there for Marvel Comics covers.
I remember the blood used to have to be black if it was on the cover. Maybe even through the whole book.
Or sometimes I'd hide the blood as part of Spider-Man's costume, or there are ways to do it where it's not so. They just don't want it to be gory. If it's a design element, it can be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all subjective, though. It like all kind of changes all the time.
Right. All right. Awesome. And then you did. I don't have any pictures of this one. I'm just winging it now.
Yeah.
But you all right? So you were mostly doing cover art for what I remember, and then doing. Should I say fill-in stories for other things?
Here's what happened: is I broke in as a penciler. I broke in penciling the back half of Gambit number 13, and since before I broke in, I knew I wanted to write and be a writer artist. And as soon as I broke in as a penciler, I started pushing to write and draw. And my first miniseries was a Ben Grimm Logan tale written by Larry Hama, Ben Grimm Logan. They're both pre-superheroes. There's a Canadian soldier, American soldier fighting the Black Widow. And because I had an inker, but because I could ink my own stuff and color my own stuff, I ended up coloring my first cover, but Walden Wong inked it. Walden's a great guy. And then my issue 2, they're falling behind. And back then you'd have to mail out, I'd have to mail out my pencils to Marvel. Then Marvel would mail them to the inker. Then the inker would mail them back to Marvel. And the Marvel would have to mail the scan to the colors. And then he'd have to mail back the CD-ROM back to Marvel. So if I could do 2 of those jobs, I could save them 3 days, basically, or at least 2 days. And then I finagled my way into penciling and coloring. And then I think issue 2, I finagled my way into penciling, inking, and coloring because I could save them so much time. And then I became known very quickly as someone who could deliver a cover very fast because there was none of this extra travel time. So I started getting covers only just because they knew I could turn them out and save all this time, and they liked them. And then I started on a whim. I've always wanted to be an oil painter, but I didn't have the money to buy oils back then. I just had my little computer and a Wacom tablet, and there was an oil painting app. And I just started painting on the computer, and I didn't ask to do a painted cover. I just kind of did it as my first Spider-Man cover. Axel gave me a cover, and I love Spider-Man so much. I just wanted to do something different. And so I sent it the painting cover, and it showed up. And again, back then it was new to have it digitally painted. People weren't doing it. Mm-hmm. And again, Axel, you need a good editor to allow you to change things up. And he was like, this is amazing, more. And then immediately I started painting covers, Spider-Man, Hulk. And then I was petitioning Axel to be I want to write and draw insides. And he was like, listen, Kaare, pencilers always want to write. It's actually very hard to write a good story. Have this.
Thank you, Axel.
Right. I do have this. He's being gentle with me because it's true. A lot of pencilers do feel the urge to write, but don't actually write. Right. People tell them no, and then they stop pushing. And he's like, listen, I have this Spider-Man anthology that's just starting up. We are looking for some stories. If you ever have an idea, maybe we can talk about it. And so I wrote and laid out an entire issue, and then lettered the layouts, an entire issue of a Spider-Man tale, and just was like, well, what about something like this? And then he was like, wow, this is great. Let's do it. So you have to just keep pushing. And then once that happened, someone else at Marvel came to me with a Marvel Mangaverse tale that I could write and draw. And I was like, I want to do the Spider-Man version of the Marvel Mangaverse. So I actually had 2 one-shots kind of come out at the same time. And then I was a writer artist. And then
you did a Spider Kid one, the Spider manga.
Marvel Mangaverse Spider-Man is the issue. It was a one-shot back then. And then I wrote the Scotty Young miniseries.
But
it was you have to push your way into these spaces. But I knew just historically, once people, as a fan, once a fan knows you as a penciler, just as a fan, when you see a penciler try to be a writer artist, you're like, oh, this guy, why is he doing it? It's all going to suck. I'm not going to read it. And I knew 2 things. One is it would suck. So the quicker I can get better, the better for me. So I just need to do it now. But then also I need to do it before the fans can put a box on me, before they can label me. And so that was a real urgency to do it. And then I ended up pitching for Spider-Man Reign. And before I did Spider-Man Reign, Axel was like, listen, before we do this, can you draw the stock hockey year one that Zeb Wells was writing for me?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I drew that first, and then after that, I ended up doing Spider-Man Rain. So I actually got a green light on the Spider-Man Rain, but right before I started doing it, Axe was like, I need an artist now. Can you just do this quickly? And then I've worked with a lot of great writers like Mark Millar, Warren Ellis, but at this point I've more written and drawn than drawn other people's stories, probably.
And is that the way it's going to be now? I mean, I know that guys like Sean Gordon Murphy are like, I'm done working with other writers, you know?
I'm not done working with other writers. I like writers. I mean, the writer has to be good. And I think Zeb Wells and Warren Ellis and Mark Millar are some of our best. And it's fun. It's really fun to pencil someone else's script, because it's like I'm directing a movie or whatever. You get to analyze the script and break it down. And I always try to draw not what the writer says on the page, but what I think they really want. Because what someone really wants is always under the words, because words are so limited, you know? So I always try to draw their intention, not the page. And I never change the story, but I will try to draw what they're really, even if they're unaware, what they really want to do is what I try to, is what I try to do. But I also really like writing and drawing. So I'm more inclined to write and draw right now, but I would never rule out working with a great writer on a new project. And
I listened to your, I think both of them, the Perch interviews that you did. And you talked about like being the person who was basically doing everything because you don't have to depend on anybody to get something done. And you can, I understand because like, I'm like, I'll price the comics and I'll put them in the bags and I'll file them away, and you can do whatever, which is nothing because I've just done everything.
I'm a son of divorced parents. They divorced when I was 4. So there's probably some like inbuilt looking for, you know, people to let me down throughout my whole life. That is like, it's just, it's easier for me just to like do the jobs. Cause if I let myself down, I can always beat myself up and, you know, get myself back to work. But if someone else is like, if I'm trying to I'm not good at getting things out of people or manipulating situations or playing politics. Like I'm not good at that stuff. So it's always been easier for me just to like, well, I'll just do it.
Well, what do you feel about, have you written for some other artist? I mean, other than like the Scotty Young situation, have you done that a lot or
not a lot? A little bit. I did a mini series with my good friend, Troy Nixie for Dark Horse. It was like in one of the Dark Horse Presents, we did the thing called the Black Sinister.
All right.
And I did the Scotty Young Mangaverse stuff, and was that it? There may have been.
Scotty Young is doing the same thing as you're doing, or you did with him. Yeah. Now he's writing, and other people are drawing it.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, it was funny when Scotty was hired to do the Spider-Man Mangaverse. I remember either he told me or maybe CB told me. Someone told me. I think it was him. I can't remember. He was hired and he was told to kind of like emulate what I had done in the one shot. And I was like, listen, Scotty, you gotta just do you. Like, I don't want you to emulate me. Like, you need to, like, a penciler's job is never want, like, just like Bill Sienkiewicz. He started out, probably he was even told, maybe that's how he got the work, emulating Neil Adams. And then immediately, pretty quick, he started doing his own thing. And I think that was whether or not I had anything to do with Scotty. I still feel proud that I had that conversation with him to like, you know, like do your own thing, man. Like from the first issue, like this is you're drawing this book, like do your thing, you know?
Right. Yeah. And we love him at the store.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
I love your work too, by the way. So as we were reopening from the pandemic in California, I think E-Ratic started coming out.
Yeah.
And I was pretty hot for this book. It didn't necessarily, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It sold okay. And it sold regularly to the people that bought it. But as of yet, I mean, I'm still a big believer in it. And I push it all the time. But when it's not Spider-Man, you know, and other things that people know, it's a little bit of an uphill battle, but I really think it's an amazing 5-issue series, and I hope there's going to be more.
Yeah, no, I hope so too. I mean, that book is the only book that I've got a bunch of kids. I've got a 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and the two boys are the older ones. It's the first book where I was like, I finished E-Ratic. They were reading every issue, and then I was doing Amazing Fantasy. While I was doing Amazing Fantasy, they're like, Dad, you've got to draw more E-Ratic. We love E-Ratic, and it's the only time they've ever said that about any character that I've worked on. So maybe at some point there will be more E-Ratic. It'd be really fun. It's not actually a creator-owned book. Like AWA owns it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I made it for their universe. Like I do own a stake in the character.
Gotcha.
But it's not like My Hellboy, for instance.
Gotcha. You can't take it just anywhere else or anything like
that.
No,
it's like integrated into their universe.
So how much did you have, like, so you're writing and you're drawing, you're doing a lot of the work on this book. How much did the Axel Alonso or the other people that are involved in the company have to did they just give you free reign to do it? Or was there some sort of parameter or anything like that? The
parameter was, hey, I'm a big fan and friend of Axel, and when he left Marvel, I was like, hey man, let me know what you're doing next. And he was like, I'm doing this next, and we're doing a superhero universe, and if I would love for you to do something for the universe. It could be anything. It could be whatever you want, something that fits in this new universe. And I instantly came up with this weird idea of a kid who had a costume like in the old days, and a weird name and an animal-based name, and crazy powers that only lasted 10 minutes a day. And I just came with it all at once, and like just in a flash, and a tail. I wanted the tail and ears like a rat, and
yes.
And
right there.
So the very first page of that book is the first image I drew, and it became part of it all just came in like just like a flash. So, but the cool thing about Axel is he will get out of your way if you're doing good work. Right. So he doesn't try to micromanage talent. He just wants you to do good stuff. So if he likes it, then he'll empower you.
The thing I like the most about it is, it's very little superheroing actually. Even though like the whole thing is about the main character and his family and all the other characters in his life, but every character is so well fleshed out. Even in I don't know if you know anything about wrestling.
A little. I mean, I used to watch it a lot as a kid, but I haven't watched it in a long time.
Characters will come out, and they have a certain amount of time to really let you know who they are and what their whole thing is about. And a lot of times when it doesn't work, it's rambly, and it's not coming across, or whatever you want to come across is not believable. Everything in this book is basically that. Is if you only have a few seconds, each character has got a really it's really fleshed out. I like it a lot.
Well, it probably has to do with I mean, if I had the time and the resources, every issue would be 60 pages. So I generally have like 2 or 3 issues of content that I have to squish into 20 pages or so. So it's probably a result of just like trying to condense all the ideas I have into. I find that the hardest part about writing for me, because I don't. I think a normal writer in comics can write 5 issues, up to 5 issues a month. Maybe that's high, but maybe 3 issues a month, whatever they're doing. So they have a lot of runway to do a lot of their ideas and hand it off to someone else to draw. I don't, because I'm writing for myself. I have too many ideas, and I'm constantly a battle to like just condense those ideas into a 20-page book. Like for me, that's the biggest battle. It's never like I'm out of ideas. It's always I have 1,000 ideas, but only 20 pages. What am I going to do with this?
Do you think being limited that way is better for you in your writing then?
Oh yeah. I think limitations are good for art, for sure.
It works that way. You have to pull back sometimes. You can't just like give everything all in one issue.
Yeah. Well, when those 4-hour director cuts of those movies started happening, I think, people realized, oh, I love, whoever, Ridley Scott, but I don't know if I love 4 hours of Ridley Scott. Like you need to cut away some of the media, even if it's good stuff. cut away the good stuff to try to get the great stuff.
Well, that's the thing about the comic book. The companies put so many comic books out. I mean, even the small companies, Dark Horse can have a bunch coming out, or even Vault. Sometimes they're just slamming the shelves. And even if every single one of them was a great book, that's not necessarily a good thing,
Yeah, I mean, but also I don't think it's wrong, because I do think in any medium, whether it's music or books or movies or TV, most of that material that's generated is going to be just okay. So, but you need to make a lot of stuff to also have the great stuff. Like the more stuff you make, just out of statistically, you'll have more great stuff. But a swamp, like right now, the problem with the world is every band is on the internet. So there's just like a wall of noise. So trying to find the great stuff is harder than it's ever been. Like trying to filter out that stuff. And then you have these social media companies like Google trying to manipulate what you can find and what you can't find, and trying to point you towards things. Like, just imagine sure, it's already happening. The entertainment divisions, not just Google ads, but are buying algorithms to like try to manipulate. Like, I've never felt so manipulated in my life with like just tech, like just trying to push me to or away either ideas or movies or politics, whatever. I've never felt those so much. Like, I feel it every day, and it's making people crazy. It's like making people hate each other. It's like this weird new world we're in. We're just like, the amount of just data is overwhelming. I don't know. I think that's the biggest challenge of the time, is like, how do we just find the good stuff?
I mean, I haven't read it. I have a person I talked with that did read it and said it was great. But tomorrow, Amazing Fantasy comes out.
Yeah.
Man, all these covers that I am going to show people, it's like Sienkiewicz did it, but it's you. It's like, this is an old ass pulp cover, but it's you. And it's pretty awesome.
Well, I'm just trying to embrace those, like, especially those covers. Like, the main covers are really kind of Frazetta-esque,
Sure.
And then I did a variant that was very Sienkiewicz-esque.
Oh, that's this one here.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
so I did variants to my own series. So I did my own main covers. I'm a variant cover guy. Why not? Right. I did my own.
Why not?
I pitched it to Tom Brevoort, and I was like, I just had this urge, because I'm doing these Frazetta style, kind of pulpy 70s style covers in kind of a new way. I'm trying to do them on, trying to honor the old, but reinvent it into the new. But I also just have in the book, there's a few different art styles. And so I wanted to do era specific variant covers.
Okay.
So I have like kind of a 40s-esque ish, not more of an homage, not a trace, but like a theft, like a Captain America, and then kind of an 80s-esque Black Widow. That's the Sienkiewicz one. And I have got like kind of like a
here.
Yeah. And these are the insides. So these are,
yes.
And then this is like in the Spider-Man in his era. I wanted to do kind of that animated, like watercolor skies and blocky back buildings. And, I have all these weird ideas all the time.
Now, is it a different character each issue, or is it just a whole anthology with different characters all the way throughout?
No, it's one story, 5 issues.
Oh.
And this is in continuity. This is not a Elseworlds story.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I did not realize that.
Yeah,
I try not to read the blurbs too much, especially if like I believe in the people working on it. I don't even know. I don't want to ruin it for myself.
I mean, the way continuity works, right? You know, this is just if it's good, it will actually be in continuity.
Sure.
And if it's off, if it's too left of field, it will just be kind of considered an Elseworlds type sort of thing. But it's definitely written with the intention of being straight up continuity. These are characters plucked from their prime eras: World War II Captain America, Teenage Spider-Man, and Spy School Black Widow, Russian Spy School Black Widow, and put on this island of fantasy, and just why they're there, what happens when they get there, what they're going to do. There's different tribes of people. There's frogmen, there's orcs, There's kind of Birdman. There's like very fantasy, very fantasy, very Frazetta, very Conan, very Frazetta, very even He-Man, not the tech necessarily, but you know, and then we see what happens. Each hero kind of hooks up with a different tribe, and all the tribes are at war with each other. So we have lots of conflict.
Now, speaking of He-Man, we're not going to do Kevin Smith with you. On your Instagram page, you posted a He-Man. What is this, animatic or whatever?
Yeah, like a concept trailer. These were concept paintings I did, and then I animated them and cut them into a trailer with music and sound effects. Right.
Now, I don't want to make you sit through it, so I'll play it afterwards. Would you like? What was that all about?
Well, I was pitching. Well, so I also direct film and TV, and so this was 14 years ago. I was actually pitching for the job of directing the He-Man movie, and so I created those animatics to pitch Silver Pictures, and then I reused them to pitch directly Sony, and actually had some traction there for a little while. It didn't go anywhere. That movie's hard to make. It's going to take someone who's very an executive who's really daring, because the movie, that concept is so hard, I think, to make. Like in live action, like I think probably 300 is the closest we've had to, like 300 mixed with Star Wars would be the closest we've seen to kind of He-Man on the big screen. Right. But I think it can be totally done. Like I would love to do it. But this was, again, it's 14 years ago. I did this trailer. It got leaked to the internet.
Thank you, internet.
It's fine. It's fine. But but anyways, I just, when the He-Man show came out, I was like, oh, I should I have a trailer. I'll throw that up. People haven't seen it in a long time. So. Yeah,
totally. So talking earlier, thinking about, if you were looking at your movie being made, would you be like, I don't want to watch that still? Like you were saying earlier in the show.
Sorry, take me back.
Oh,
I
don't
remember what I said.
I was asking you about watching your favorite things being made into movies or TV now, and you were kind of like, I kind of stay away from it. So, knowing you making a movie, do you think you'd go and see that one?
if I made it myself?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, yeah. 'Cause then I could do what I want. I think if I, for instance, He-Man, if I did a He-Man movie, I'm usually very interested in trying to identify the core of a character and then reinvest in that core. Like what makes Spider-Man? It's that lesson: with great power comes great responsibility. So when I did Spider-Man Reign, I set that character way in the future. He's an old man, but I tried to put in place a scenario to put him back into the Peter Parker I knew, alone, kind of bullied, kind of like resentful, kind of like down, so he could relearn that same lesson. Like I wanted him to forget that lesson, and because it didn't make sense anymore. So I killed Mary Jane. I kind of gave him this premise where if he didn't have the power to save the person he loved most, maybe he didn't have any power at all. And if he didn't have any power at all, maybe he didn't have any responsibility, and he just stops. And then I could work and orchestrate some events so we could relearn that lesson, reconnect with Mary Jane in some emotional way, forgive himself, and become the hero again and take on the responsibility. Because Spider-Man didn't become Spider-Man when the spider bit him. He became an asshole. Like he became a wrestler, talk show guy, lets the robber go away, kill his Uncle Ben. It's not until he causes the death of the person he loves, that's what makes him a superhero. It's the thing he messed up on that is the mechanism to make him become better. And we all know that's what happens, right? You can only hurt the people you love the most. Like you can't hurt someone you don't love or doesn't love you the way you can hurt someone who you love or who loves you like this. Sure. And you're going to, like, if you love someone enough, you're going to hurt them. And maybe it's not intentional. Maybe it is intentional. It's just going to happen because it's human nature. And what do you do then? Do you just check out? I'm a horrible person. I'm gone. Or do you take that moment to become a better person? Like that's to me, and that's the mechanism of Spider-Man. That's why I can get behind Spider-Man, and that's his core. So for me, it's like I would do the same thing with He-Man. Like, what's his core? Who is he? Why is he? And so, sometimes like I did my run on Iron Fist, and I think if you had a fan who was more interested in the jokey version of Iron Fist, like I went back to the origin where you have this kid who watches a man murder his parents and then goes to train for 10 years, not to become a superhero, but to kill for revenge, to kill this guy. And at the end of that quest, these monks, these monk warriors say, hey, you don't have to have revenge. Stay here, have this fruit of immortality, and live with us in peace. And he's like, nope, I'm going to get some revenge. Like and then when he goes to find the guy who killed his parents, that guy's lost his mind. He's in a wheelchair. He's already been killed, basically, metaphorically. And his quest of revenge is empty. And to me, that's actually the core of Iron Fist. Mm-hmm. And so when I did my Tale of Living Weapon, I really went back to that original mechanism. But that's a trickier character because that core isn't as universal as Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.
Now that's the one where they're on that expedition, and then he pushes his father off the cliff or something like that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Is that how it works?
He pushes his father off the cliff.
I haven't read it since it came out, so forgive me for not remembering.
immediately proposes to Iron Fist's mother, Danny Rand's mother.
Right.
And then she says no, and he's like, "Fine, I'll leave you to freeze to death in the Arctic." And then Danny and his mom start traveling across, and she gets eaten by wolves. And he watches his mom get eaten by wolves, and he's about to get eaten by wolves, but he makes his way across this bridge to this mystical city, and then they train him for revenge. Like it's a dark. And I think, the Netflix show, I would say the biggest mistake that show made was they backed away from his actual origin. Like he didn't, in the show, he had no quest for revenge. He had no reason for being, but any martial arts tale, like the revenge tale is the strongest martial arts tale. That physical vengeance is always the strongest martial arts tale because it's so visceral. You train your body into a weapon to use it. And then the lesson learned is generally, the blade cuts both ways. Like when you try to have your revenge, you will damage yourself or your loved ones just as much as you damage that person. So the ultimate lesson of a revenge tale is it's not worth it. But if you remove the revenge tale from Iron Fist, he actually has no mechanism to exist. Like it's a very martial arts centric tale. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I'm really looking forward to Amazing Fantasy tomorrow. You want to give one last pitch for my customers out there?
Yeah, check it out. There's listen, if I feel some of our favorite heroes, shared heroes, have iterated so far away from who you think they are, they're almost unrecognizable. And I think I had gave myself the task of taking the most recognizable archetypal version of Spider-Man with the most recognizable archetypal version of Captain America and the most recognizable archetypal Black Widow, and just did straight up right down the middle. Like I think if we were playing football, I'm trying to pass to people, they're all off on the sides. They're way off on the sides, but the middle is just open, and I'm just running. I'm not passing to anyone. I'm just running down the field trying to score a touchdown because no one's there. I think the superhero field is open for the archetypes to just dig in and do those. So that's what I'm really trying to do. And there'll be lots of surprises. There's some guests along the way. There's some fun. There's some adventure. There's some amazing fantasy on this crazy tale.
All right, yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, Kaare. Sorry for butchering your name right up front.
It's my whole life. That's my whole life.
I'm sure. I understand that. Trust me.
Yeah. I bet you do.
Everybody says thanks for coming in. ATN's just there to show it.
Perfect.
And I already got another sale, so it's great. It's already working.
Right. We did it.
All right.
We did it.
All you have to do is remove yourself from the area, and I'll see you. Maybe we'll talk again.
Yeah, sounds good, Yul. Thanks for having me.
Man. Thanks.
Right.
Really appreciate it. Oh, big sized. Hold on a sec. Oh man, it's hot here. I don't know about you guys, but it's kind of warm. Thank you, Fantino. I'm sorry I didn't want to like interrupt him. I knew he had like only a certain amount of time. We already kept him late. I saw some really good questions, and you know what? Just let's make it up to you. I'm going to show you his. No. Before we do that, let's do this.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Hello.
What's up?
What's up? I don't know what you guys are talking about. What's up? All right, let's look at the He-Man thing that he did. I thought it was pretty cool, and I clipped it, and here it comes. There you go. Oh, it was billed as 300. That's what he said. So there you go. That would have been pretty sweet. And we know that if Kaare was involved with it, he would have kept He-Man as one of the characters. Spoilers. There is a lot of people upset with Kevin Smith this weekend. I don't know if anybody knows about that because Masters of the Universe was released on Netflix. Last week, I let you guys know that we were getting rid of Netflix, but it had nothing to do with this. But I'm going to say it is now. Who cares? I watched the first episode, and I thought it was okay. And I know a lot of people are upset, and I heard about all the rest of it. And the thing is that Kevin Smith, I guess, came out. Oh, yeah, let me put this up. I didn't know I dropped the W from his name also. Kevin Smith came out quite a while ago and was like, no, that's not what happens. And he kind of blamed this YouTube channel that was just reporting on what they heard. And it got a lot of people flinging shit their way. And there you go. But I guess whatever they said did really happen. And then he had a live stream on the weekend. They had no comments. Not like here. You can put comments up. Just please, police yourself, okay? Kevin Smith hates He-Man. That's what I've heard. Yeah, it was. Oh wait, you guys are moving too fast. Clownfish TV. You know, the thing about Clownfish TV is I like it a lot, especially when they're going through like numbers and things like that. But sometimes it can just be a little too much of the same thing, and what they're into isn't necessarily what I am into. Like I can't do Star Wars or Disney stuff all the time. But if you're into that, I think they're pretty much like know what's going on. Oh, let's see. What's wrong with that guy? I tried watching Kevin Smith's YouTube channel. Why is he so fake? He look, anytime you're palsy-walsies with people, it's hard to really critique them. I'm going to do Beckstar in just a few minutes. And you know, it's just, I don't know, man. And it's fake. Everything's fake. Life is fake, right? Me dealing with customers is fake. But you know what isn't? My love of comic books. And I'm going to share that with you right now. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, damn it. You can move too fast. Can't wait. Let me just say it was pretty good, man. Let me turn my camera off. Nobody wants to see that anymore. Let me get to... Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. Sometimes it's just too hard. Just too hard to keep going. I was going to talk about Captain Marvel #6 also, but we'll see if that really happens. That's the mother's basement, if you will. All right, we're going to share screen. Here we go. Oh, wait, let's not do that one yet. Did I do a... Let me do a banner first. Here we go. All right. LN Mom number 1. Oh, my gosh, kids. Let me tell you. Oh, Yule. All right, there we go. Beckstar number 3. Beckstar has been really good. Every issue has had some sort of, we'll call it a cliffhanger, a reason to read the next issue. And this one ends on that too. And I don't want to, I'm not going to show it to you. So that's cool. And it's almost like when they say that the page, the bottom right-hand corner page panel, is supposed to make you want to turn the page so that you can see what's happening. And yeah, it's kind of like that. Look at that. Look at that. There's the bad guy right on the right-hand side on the bottom of the... All right, so first and foremost, I think the art's really good. I like it. I forget what I suggested it was kind of like one time. I can't quite remember, but I really enjoy it. I think it's pretty good and tells a good story. The problem, or the thing I was saying, not the problem with Independence a lot of times is that the art isn't that good. This is not the case. I think it's really good and it tells the story well, and there's a lot of action, and the characters, the designs are there so that you can tell each one apart, which when you're reading the 3rd issue of a comic you've only really just started and you haven't invested years and years in, I think that's kind of important. There is cursing, just to let you know. So this is not for children. It does have that kind of animated style. Like maybe you've seen it on Cartoon Network. So, Joe, you and your potty mouth. Oh, I didn't clip that one. All right, so here's the bad guy doing bad guy things. I like it. It's exactly what you want from your bad guys, doing evil stuff and going to threaten the character. They are going to go and receive... Geez, Joe, tell me in the comments what it is. I can't quite remember. They're trying to get this artifact. And he knows where to meet him from torturing this dude. And we're also getting flashbacks. The flashbacks, again, are important because we're finding out the stuff that made Beckstar the loner that she is. And basically her crew are stealing this money and they're going to ace her out of the stuff, of the loot, and back to normal. So that's good. I like that. A good delineation of, the mirror shimmering and we're seeing the past. And then we go back into here. This is where they're trying to receive the get the item, and it was a setup, and these dudes are here waiting for them. I might be misremembering some of it. You can tell I took the pictures on the floor. And yeah, here's the getaway. There's some really good action, and like I said, there was a cliffhanger at the end. I liked it a lot. It progressed. What are you going to say about a 3rd issue of 5? You know what I mean? I think it's really good, and I've been selling it pretty well, Joe. Let me tell you, a lot of people be getting 1, 2, and 3. It's really nice when I'm able to put them all together. I still have a copy of the first print, and if there's any more of the second print, I'm going to be reordering those in the next order. So what I want to do is that Nottingham and Stray Dogs I want to start putting on my spinner rack, and I want to always have them up. I think those would be really cool. It reminds me of back in the day when 8 Ball would come out, and this is something, if they keep it in print, like a slave labor comic, I can always keep putting that in there, and I'd rather do that than trades personally. All right, Daredevil number 31. I do not read Daredevil all the time. The last time I did was when Elektra became the new Daredevil because Matt Murdock is in prison. That's not Matt Murdock there. Who is it? I like to read these first parts of stories to see if I can understand what's going on, so I can tell you whether or not you can understand what's going on. Chip Zdarsky's writing it. Everybody loves it. I think it's pretty good. He did all this Catholic stuff in the beginning, and I'm not Catholic, and I don't really care about reading about Catholics. And then he went to prison, or turned himself in to go to prison, and that was very much like when Brubaker, took over for Bendis. But Elektra is the new Daredevil out there in Hell's Kitchen, and that's a little bit of a different thing. Matt Murdock has had a couple of attempts on his life made, and he's talking to this bruiser here as he's then going to be taken to the warden, the guy who's been setting him up. Here's Elektra arguing with some girl I don't know. She calls her a crazy bitch, and some other curse word that Joe would have put in his comic. Now she wants to go beat some people up, Very Daredevil. I'm upset. I'm going to go beat people up. This is Mike Murdock pretending he's Matt Murdock, and he's talking to Hammerhead and these other bad guys, these thugs. I don't know what he's trying to do. Here's Elektra beating people up, and she really, really wants to find this lady. I don't know who this lady is. This is a nice scene, though, because you go from her asking about Izzy Libris to Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, asking for where's Bullseye. And he's the mayor still, and he's threatening people, and cops are pulling their guns on him, and he has I don't know who this chick is, threatening them. Anyway, he needs Bullseye. I want Bullseye. What's Bullseye? Oh, here's Bullseye. He's killing people like he always does. And he still has that, talk about Kevin Smith. That bullseye in his head that he carved in. God, that's the dumbest thing. Anyway, he sees this angel, and the angel is like, hey, why don't you kill everybody since you're like who you are? And here's Daredevil. He's in prison, and he's still wearing his mask, and this warden wants him killed. And there's a pretty cool scene where Daredevil's beating up the guards, but then he just gives himself up. And then here's Izzy, and I guess her kids were killed by the Hand, or she wanted to make a deal with the Hand to kill Elektra Daredevil. But because of her, Bullseye's on the loose, and what's Bullseye doing? He's killing people. So it's a pretty good issue. I thought it was all right. If you like Daredevil or are enjoying this stuff, you probably dig it. Mike Hawthorne is not as good as Mark Cicchetto, especially on a monthly book. I mean, this face here. Anyway. And now Mom. Everybody's been waiting for Mom #1 by Emilia Clarke. She's Daenerys Targaryen, everybody. Marguerite Bennett and Layla Lalise on art. The art, I think, is pretty good. I read about the first 3 pages. This is ridiculous, and it's been making the rounds. She, all right, she's a 29-year-old mom, a high school dropout, chemical engineer, part-time sex worker. Whew. She's like Homer Simpson sex worker, Thai food junkie, and biological freak of nature because she's got like powers. I think it's during that time of the month. She says, and this is like 2049. Anyway, I couldn't get through it. It's not written for me. I read the when Emilia Clarke was talking about what made her want to write this book, and that oh my goodness, that one. Exactly, Moby. It's bad. Period. Hilarious. I'm sure whatever I said. Oh wait, let's see here. Oh my goodness. All right, excellent. So that was Mom. I just threw that in because I thought it would be funny. We sold a few today. I'm okay with that. And it's a no risk image #1, and it's something that it's something, let me tell you. But I think you could just go for like Maneater. I think other people have said it. I think either Joe or Purchase said it. You could just go straight for Maneaters, and you get more satire that way, and probably, I don't know, at least a person who's a writer working on it. At least. Oh, we already did that one. Let me see. Okay, let me. I didn't play the interview. Boy, you put these things together, and you want people to see them, and then you screw it up. Just the way it is. I know my reviews aren't really reviews. It's just talking about comics really quick. It stems from working at the comic store for so many years. You just want to put the highlights out there and leave the customer with a little bit of the information so that they can like do the rest for themselves. And I mean, I did, I've done real reports on things, full examinations on stuff. I don't think anybody's coming here for that. Maybe they are. Let's see here. What is on the desktop that I need to show you guys? Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, this is great. There it is. Captain Marvel #6. Who's ready for Captain Marvel #6? When I say Captain Marvel #6, does anybody have any concept of what Captain Marvel I'm talking about? All right, let's see here. Oh, we've got the unreleased movie, Fantastic Four, Roger Corman Presents. That has the, well, thank you very much, Sequential Geek. Where was that? Go ahead and read that old Mockingbird series. Exactly. His mom gonna team up with Youngblood. Hilarious. They're very good. Do I mean Billy Batson? No, I do not mean Billy Batson. I will. It'll be the power of Shazam when I do a Mother's Basement that way. Oh, that's good. See, there you go. Talking helps. Talking it out. We got to go back to. We're in Mother's Basement. We're gonna look at a comic book. It's gonna be Captain America or Captain Marvel 6 right now. There it is. Okay. Yeah, we know it's a videotape. Look at that. Who is it? A Salinger that's in that movie? I forget. Somebody like that. I don't remember though. That's not what I meant to do. All right, sharing screen. All right, sharing screen. No, Captain Marvel #6 right there. Written by Peter David with art by Chris Cross. It will make you jump. He did the cover. Look at that. A lot of stuff going on. Anybody know these characters here? I'll let you know inside. Maybe you had a toy that looked like one of these. Well, this one. All right. Starts off at Golden Orange Comics. I don't know if this is on Melrose or not, but it's owned by Margot, and that's the redhead. Oh, I kind of gave the joke up a little bit. But what this guy wants to do is sell a box full of Youngbloods, and she's going to give him $1. And he's all, $1 a copy? They retail for $2.50 a piece. I bought this years ago as a college investment. She's all, not $1 a copy, the $1 for a whole box. Oh, poor Liefeld. Peter David just likes making fun of him. Margot keeps seeing this smoking goth ghost lady. I forget what the reason is. I used to read it back in the day, and I love this series. It was really nice revisiting it and just remembering it. There's some really cool things. Obviously, there's only Marvel books back here at this comic store. Earth X, X-Men. All right, now we're going to where Captain Marvel is. These are Micronauts. They're not called Micronauts in this. They're calling themselves Microns. They were created by Marvel. I guess it would be Mike Golden and Bill Mantlo. That's Marionette right here, and Captain Arcturus Ron, I think is how you say his name, and then Bug right here. Loved Bug. Loved them all. They were great characters. The first 12 issues of Micronauts are musts. And get the annual too. It's done by Steve Ditko. And then like the last 10 or 15 issues were drawn by Butch Guice. And it pretty much ends the story of the Micronauts until, they IP it and keep going on and on and on. Anyway, we're in the Microverse, and I don't know exactly what's going on here, but here's Captain Marvel getting punched through this building. And for those who came late, or did not come late, there will be milk and cookies later. I am expecting my milk and cookies, even though this is a revisit. I'm not sure if Peter David's on social media, but I'm going to demand it later. Anyway, he's trying to get Drax. And Drax is being enamored by this lady here who's posing as Jarella's sister. And Captain Marvel's got to fight all these goons off. Meanwhile, on Earth, Rick Jones has Moondragon tied to a chair, and he's torturing her. Every time she starts to say anything that upsets him, he puts the music on, and it's Limp Bizkit. That's a good Peter David joke there. Anyway, I love Chris Cross's artwork. I think it's really super expressive. Everybody's really good looking. He draws everybody really pretty and really powerful and really cool superhero characters. And the violence is awesome. It's not like super deadly, and Peter David isn't going to do something that's going to get, his bosses upset with him. He tells pretty solid stories with little punchlines in between, pages. And basically, like I said, this Jarella lady is pretending to be her sister and got all the people up in arms against Captain Marvel. Here's that ghost lady watching TV. Oh, look at this. So when we get Captain Marvel finally meeting the Micronauts, they tell the story of everything that's been going on. And I guess Thanos and it looks like Mangog. Maybe that's just Thanos only. It looks like a Mangog picture though. Get involved with Baron Karza, and I think this down here, as seen in last year's instant sellout, Small Expectations one shot. I don't think that was really a comic book. I was thinking of tweeting Tom, what's his name, Brevoort, but I decided against it. More fighting. God, Peter David knows how to do a good action comic, and Chris Cross knows how to draw a good action panel, if you know what I mean. Oh yeah, this is a good one. So since Margot is seeing dead people when she goes in the bath, oh, this is a good little ROM bit right here. When she goes in the bathroom and sees Moondragon in there, she just thinks she's crazy and is like, "Oh, I'll come back and see you later, Rick." More fighting. Took a drink of water. This is the whole issue. I love it, man. He just does the people screaming and the teeth. It's just so perfect. Suffice it to say, the good guys win in the end. Drax is no longer under the spell, and Jarell is in a lot of trouble, or not Jarell is in a lot of trouble. And it was a really good issue. Captain Marvel was an excellent series. It's not expensive if you can find it in your back issue bins. That artwork is nice. I agree. Wait, Gil Kane, which issues of those did he do? I don't remember. I know that Keith, was it like before or after the Keith Giffen stuff? I know he did the Nightcrawler issue. And I know a lot of the readers weren't so into Micronauts when Arcturus was being all mopey. And he kind of was like, the rest of the crew was trying to like keep everything together, but the stories kind of dragged. They needed to get in that danger room so that people would care. Oh yeah. Okay. Very good. I've never read every single Micronaut, but I've read a lot of them. But The first 12 and the last ones are super awesome. Dig them a lot. That is one Peter David series I need to catch up. Has he ever done a bad book? Well, he can be cheesy. And let me think. Has he ever? I mean, he's done. I know some people don't really like his Supergirl. I think that Supergirl wasn't my favorite anyway. She was like the blob one. When Byrne created Supergirl, she was, or well, it was during that time, you know, that series, and she was kind of like all right, but maybe that one, maybe if there's like a character you don't like, I guess like some people don't like X-Men, and he has mostly only done superhero stuff. Did you ever read Sax and Violins? Did you ever read any of his novels? My favorite novels that he wrote were the Star Trek Next Generation ones, because where I thought the episodes of Star Trek Next Generation were pretty passionless when it came to real characterization, Peter David's characters were so well fleshed out. They had such great lines. There was funny stuff going on. They seemed like real human beings. And those I really dig a lot. I also really enjoy his Star Trek comic books, which followed, I do believe, after Star Trek 3. So when they get Spock back and they're like, oh, maybe it's after 4. Whenever they're on the run, I think is when he took over. Oh, he did yes, I know what you're talking about. Not Fable like Bill Willingham's Fables. It's those punny books that he did. I can't remember what they're called. And yes, I bought and read Sax and Violence. Oh yeah, George Perez doing. It's all about. God, let me remember. Hold on a second. It's all about like snuff films, and Sax is the chick, right? And she's wearing like a leather garter and bikini top or something, and then there's Violins, and he's this big dude, like a Vietnam vet kind of guy, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Hold on. All right, Peter David's Supergirl was outstanding. There you go. No, his Supergirl, which I loved, is post-Blob Matrix. Oh, okay, very good. Well, I can't remember. What about his Aquaman, though? He always got upset when people would say that Aquaman had a harpoon on his hand, and he'd get really pissy about it, if I remember correctly. He even wrote it in the character, so like Aquaman would be like, "It's not a harpoon, you idiot." Oh. Aquaman couldn't get those piranhas to stop chewing on his hand. How sad. No, it's not. How many okays can bugs say? Yeah. Isn't it tick? He goes like tick, 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 tick. Anyway, I'm going to end this a little early. I got about 10 minutes to, and then what am I going to do? Just chat? Oh, I see it, Joe. I got you. Stupid me. Got it. It's hard to remember those movies, especially. Those are a lot. The Joe Pesci stuff is a lot. Let me tell you. He was like so popular for a minute. And it was like you just see him all the time. I couldn't stand it after a while. Anyhow, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Not sure if I'll have a guest or not, but who knows? We'll figure it out. I didn't talk about what's coming out tomorrow, but you know, Amazing Fantasy is the big one. So until then, see you next week.